Good morning, and dear viewers in India. I'm Sijo Joseph, faculty and mentor at Sacred Heart College. Today, we have our special guest joining from Los Angeles, Ms. Eileen Grubba. Welcome,
Hi.
Eileen. Virtually welcome to India.
Thank you. Thank you.
We have around 12 hours time difference, and first of all, thank you for staying up late and adjusting the daytime for us.
Yes.
Uh, Honorable Principal of Sacred Heart College, Director, Dean, HOD of Communication Department, dear faculties, students, and other invitees. A warm welcome to all of you. Talking about Aileen. Aileen, looking at your profile, you are everywhere. You are an actor, writer, director, producer, casting director, and a public speaker.
Hmm.
So I'll just go through your milestones and achievements very quickly, and then I'll give it over to you.
Okay.
Aileen has appeared in many films and television series, uh, in HBO, NBC, Netflix, ABC, and CBS. The names includes New Amsterdam, Game of Silence, Watchmen, SWAT, All Rise, The Politician, Stump Down, and the list is very long. She's an advocate for children with disabilities and fights for the inclusion of disabled performers in the entertainment industry. Ellie is an active public speaker on issues of disability inclusion, anti-bullying, women's empowerment. She travels nationwide to speak at events, companies, and colleges, and even at the FBI, where her story is streamed nationally to every FBI field office and invited to the FBI Citizens of Academy of Graduation speech in 2019. Eileen won the Mary Austin Excellence in Screenwriting Awards in 2019 and 20. Also in 2020, Eileen was honored with the V-Spark Award for Social Impact in the entertainment industry. She's an active member of SAG-AFTRA, an association for film, television, radio artists in US. She was named brand ambassador for global disability inclusion in 2019. She's on the board of Angels in Waiting, a nonprofit run by NICU nurses that rescues babies abandoned at birth due to disability. She was a judge alongside Professor Stephen Hawking at Cambridge in England.
Yeah.
Eileen was on the cover of Ability magazine in 2017 and on the cover of the first national issue of In Spring Leaves magazine in April 2018. Her story recently appears in Forbes Women magazine and on the Emmys TV Academy official website. Wow. And this is a part of your profile. It's not complete, right?
Yeah. When
What,
you
what,
hear
what,
it like that, it. I sometimes forget how much I have accomplished. It feels like we're never quite where we want to be.
Yeah,
We're always
this
striving.
is an extensive and brilliant profile, and
Uh,
perhaps the most unique about your profile is your extreme life experiences hidden under it,
hmm Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
All right, so tell us more about it. We are eagerly waiting for your speech. We are from Sacred Heart College, students from communication department mainly. The students are studying film, animation, visual effects, and also design. So over
Wonderful.
to you, Eileen. Over to you.
Okay, thank you. Welcome, everyone. Nice to see all of you. I can't see everyone, but I see a few people. Um, so, gosh, I've been in the entertainment industry for almost 28 years. And I started really young in Atlanta, Georgia, other side of the country, and started doing musicals and working in casting and doing modeling. So that's how it all began. Um, then I moved to New York City, where I worked for a couple of years before I came out to Los Angeles. As he was saying, my extreme life experience has interfered quite a bit in my career path. Um, when I was a young girl, less than 5 years old, I was a happy, healthy child from a really large family, and we had vaccines for school. And one of the vaccines that I got had too much of the live virus, and it attacked my spinal cord. My immune system attacked back, and I ended up nearly dying from it, and ended up with a permanent spinal cord injury from it in the C1 to C4 region. And they didn't think I would ever walk again. So throughout my life, I've been on a journey of recovering from that. I still work on it. I've had a lifetime of surgeries. I had a few more of them in 2016 and 2017, rebuilding parts because of the years I was in a wheelchair as a child. So the reason that this matters, or why it's important, is because it certainly has colored my career. And it didn't take long for me to realize, as I was a girl with a limp, a walking challenge, going into this industry, I realized I was going to have to change my industry if I wanted to work in it, because at the time that I came in, we just never saw people with any kind of disability or physical challenge, and especially not women with what anyone else perceived to be a flaw coming into our business. So it was quite a uphill battle, but fortunately, I have a lot of courage. Because that also comes with life experience, you know, you get courage. And I felt like I had a right to do what everyone else does. I had a right to follow my dreams. And thankfully, I've never lost that belief and haven't given up. So I became an advocate in my early years when I saw that the doors were going to be closing regularly in this business due to my limp. I realized I needed to start really speaking up. I tried to get by without it for a few years. I tried to just keep smiling and going in as many doors as I could, but our industry had a mindset that was based in the past and based on this illusion of perfection that we used to always see in TV and film. Well, thankfully, after 28 years of battling and speaking up and doing everything I could to work in our industry, we're seeing that change now. I'm sure you're seeing it in what you see now in TV coming out of the US and beyond, because now disability is officially a part of diversity and is being included on every level. Even this year, we had a huge victory when the Academy of Motion Pictures decided that disability had to be included also in diversity if a film wanted to be considered for an Academy Award. So I'm going to call that a victory. we are there. So all the things that Cijo listed are all the things I did along the way. Early on in my very younger years, I knew that if I wanted to work in this industry, I needed to really understand this industry. And so I started working for a casting director while taking classes to learn how to act, training at Alliance Theater School, working for free for a casting director for years, auditioning actors, and all the while having my leg rebuilt. And going through a good couple of years of being off my feet during that time. So no matter what was going on, I always kept in the game. I always kept training. I always kept working. I always made sure my side jobs were in the industry. And that's how I have the casting resume, which also helped me learn the business side of the business. So I ended up working in television, producing and running departments for casting on major network shows. And I was able to learn a lot and do a lot and even produce. So, you know, I know how to produce television. I've produced film. I've started writing many, many years ago too, when I realized I had to have an emotional outlet for all the things I deal with and all the discrimination I dealt with and all the pain and suffering of loss. I lost my parents at a young age, and I've had a lot of challenges physically that make it feel like loss in your life. And I started writing about those things. And so through the years, eventually some of those projects got out into the world. One time I sold a pitch, and while I was going through cancer treatments, which was another part of my fun journey, in my very early 30s, I was about to go through cancer treatments, and I pitched a project to a studio guy, and they bought it. And so while I was going through my cancer treatments, I wrote that screenplay with a writing partner, and we delivered it before I got finished going through my medical stuff. So I'm sharing all of this with you so that you understand that no matter what you're going through, if you have a dream, you find a way to keep doing it, even when the chips are down and even when life is hitting you hard. All of that, if you're going to be in this entertainment industry, if you're going to be in the business of telling stories, these are your stories. This is your gold. This life experience is what you put into your work. And I had the dream when I was in New York City to become a member of the Actors Studio. And that's a very prestigious group of actors who I consider to be among the best actors in the world. And I had a dream to become a member of the Actors Studio, which is a very difficult thing to do. It's a known thing that's very challenging. People travel from all over the world to try to get into the Actors Studio in New York or LA. And I remember a girl telling me when I moved to New York that I shouldn't even try because I would never get in. Well, I tried and I got in. And I've been a member of the Actors Studio for over 20 years. And it is in that place, working with Emmy winners and Academy Award winners, where I learned how to take all of this life experience and really infuse it into my work, and how to light up the stage and the screen, how to move people, how to affect people emotionally. And, you know, they say in our business, you have two jobs. You need to either make people feel or you need to make them think. And thank God for life experience like mine, because for those reasons, I know how to make people think and I know how to make people feel. So that is something I can put into my writing. It's something I can put into all my characters. It's definitely something I can put into pretty much everything that I do, including speaking. So notable projects, you already mentioned all those. I'm going off of Zijo's list here. He said, talk about the notable projects. I think some of the most important ones that were milestones for my career, well, gosh, there were many. Most recently, I had one guest spot, one episode in the TV show Watchmen that was on HBO that just won 26 Emmys, I think it was, or 26 nominations, and I don't know how many wins. And it was a very important show for our time. Also, last year, I got to play a character for the first time in my whole career. I got to play a character that was really close to my life experience. It was for the TV show New Amsterdam, which is a medical series that's just a few years in, but they are definitely game changers in terms of accurately portraying medical challenges and disabilities on a medical show. And it's amazing to me that it's taken this many years for a medical show to get up to speed on this is where you include people with medical challenges, people who've spent their lives in hospitals. You want them on your medical show because they will accurately portray all these challenges. So on New Amsterdam, I got to play a character who's paralyzed from the waist down, which I was. She's going in for another surgery that she's terrified of, and she's a cancer survivor. So I couldn't believe it when I read the script, because I felt like somebody must have known me and put all of that into one character, and it was such a fun role to play. And that is the one that ended up being in consideration for an Emmy this year. So we didn't make it to the final rounds, but to even be considered is, in my opinion, a huge accomplishment. And it opens up more doors and more eyes and more minds to how important it is to hire people who have the challenges that you're writing about on your shows and in your films. It's just a really, really important aspect of inclusion in our industry and diversity, because there are a lot of parts of disability that you cannot portray unless you've lived it. And unless you've lived it, you just don't have the point of view, the perception that brings the depth and the reality of those challenges. So we're really thrilled with that show. I've had a lot of great projects through the years. I love every job I've ever had. I've had some amazing directors, amazing producers. I worked on a series called Game of Silence, and had a really fun character that starts out at 35 years old and goes all the way to almost 60 and back and forth in time, and a raging alcoholic, which was a lot of fun to play. So I've had some really fun roles, and my dream role, I haven't found it yet, but I'm working on it. The one I've done all this work for, I haven't found that role yet, but it's coming. So what else? Okay, challenges as a woman in the entertainment industry. Well, there's a story. In my earlier years, I would say that it was really challenging to be a woman in my industry trying to pursue being an actor. And we all know, I'm sure you've followed the news and the changes in our industry, but that changed in the last year or so when women finally had their say and finally had their movement, and some of the mean, predatory producers were put on trial and literally put in jail, you know, like Harvey Weinstein. And because of that change, women are treated a lot more fairly now and equally, which is a really crucial element in this industry, because we need women on equal footing. And there are so many reasons we need that. Not only for the sake of the women, but also for the sake of the men. We need equal footing for women. And finally, in this business, we have that. So I think you're going to see a lot more heartwarming stories coming, a lot more truth in the storytelling. I think you're going to see a lot more equality in storytelling. And I think you're going to see women rising up to the kind of strength that they truly own and often have been forced to hide. And I don't know how things are where you guys live. I have no idea how things are there, but I can tell you that in the United States, women are rising up to equal footing, and I think it's going to be a beautiful thing for everything we put out into the world. My current projects, while we've been going through this lovely pandemic, I've been in post-production on 2 films that are both disability inclusive. And one of them is called Dead End Drive, which we just wrapped all of our post-production on. And it's going out to festivals. We just got accepted into our very first festival. And I'm not allowed to say yet what the festival is because they asked to make the first announcement on it. But I'm very excited about it. It was written by a man named Tobias Forrest, who is a quadriplegic and a brilliant writer. And he also plays my husband in the movie. And we have a third actor called Austin Basis. And we had a wonderful director named Alexander Yellen. I'm sure that this film is going to make an impact. It's really clever and really fun. The other one is called Dark Hearts, and it's a heartbreaking drama about a couple that has lost their child. Their only child has disappeared, and they have no idea what's happened to her. And so the concept of the film is what happens to a family when a child goes missing. And that's unfortunately been a problem throughout the world, with lots of kids being kidnapped and trafficked. And we often don't look at what's happening to the parents left behind and the families. So that's a fun one. Dark Hearts, we're almost wrapped on that. We're really close. Our film was much longer than we needed it to be, so we're now crunching it down to make it festival worthy, and it'll go out there as well. And then I'm going to do a film that was supposed to start in the fall, but it's been pushed because of our pandemic. It's called Ulysses Coyote, and the producer-director is Stephen Savage of the Idlewild Film Festival. I'm really looking forward to working with him. And, you know, there's always a few other things in the works. So I'm sure TV shows will pick up soon, and then I'll have more to tell you about. Activities that I'm involved in. Well, I have a Facebook page that I started years ago, and it's called Trained Actors with Real Disabilities. And the reason it's called that is because the industry kept saying, we can't hire people with disabilities. There aren't any trained actors with real disabilities. And I was like, yes, there are. Here's a page full of them. And so we started this page where we put out casting notices worldwide. We highlight actors who are working and writers who are working when they've got something going out into the industry. We post it on the page, so you can follow that page. We'd love to have you there. Chime in, let us know when you're looking for actors, and we will put the notices out there. I also have another Facebook page that I started to help support people through challenges, because, you know, recovering from spinal cord injury is one challenge, you know, recovering from surgeries is another, going through cancer is another challenge. We all have life challenges, and a lot of people reach out to me for support. So we started a page called Everyday Warriors, and we try to post very positive, empowering things on that page every day, just to help people through the day, through the challenges. And we've had a lot more engagement through coronavirus, as people have been looking for support and encouragement. So you can join us there. I've been doing a lot with Disability Talk in the UK, and right now we're doing a poetry competition, all for disabled writers, and it has a cash reward for the best poems, 10 of them, and even Virgin Media has gotten on board. We have a huge outreach across the UK, and they invited poets from all over the world. So we're in the middle of that. And I've also been working with a group called Markarian Robotics, and they, friends of mine, Harut and Mike, started this company, and what they're trying to do is make an accessible, affordable world for everyone. And so they just put out their first book called Mobility and Inclusion, which is on Amazon, and they've got a Facebook page. But they are brilliant people who are trying to figure out how to make all kinds of accessibility available at a rate and at a price that people can afford, so that our world becomes accessible for everyone, which is really necessary. I recently just wrote a blog that's going out into Strive, or an article, and Strive is going to go out to 130 countries. And in that, I talked about how, you know, when life gets hard, we have to reach out to people who've been through even harder things. We reach out to our mentors, we reach out to our teachers. If we are lucky enough to still have parents, we reach out to our parents, right, when we're in trouble. And so it's been baffling to me that the whole world has not realized they need to reach out to the people who've been through the most, and the people who are the best at surviving and adapting and changing and overcoming things. And to me, these people are people with disabilities. They have been through the most, and they face the most discrimination, and many of them are still smiling and fighting for their dreams. And I think it's time for the world to clear the path and bring in your game changers. Don't run from them, because these are some of the smartest, most adaptable people you'll ever meet. I just delivered a drive to a filmmaker named Joe Toronto, who literally is one of the most talented directors I've ever known. And he's a spinal cord injury walker just like me. And I'm so excited that he said he would take on one of my projects and do post on it because he's so talented. So never underestimate someone just because you see a challenge or a disability. Don't run from them. That's when you want to stop. Take a deep breath. Find the courage to open your mind, and you'll probably find brilliant people to work with, and excited people, and hardworking people, and resilient people, which is what we all need to make anything happen in the world. So those are all the activities I'm involved with. I'm always advocating for the inclusion of people with disabilities, because I never want to see another small child be treated badly or kept out of fun or life or work because they've had an accident or something's happened to them or they've been born with a challenge. It's just unfair, it's unacceptable, and it has to end. And it's time. In my opinion, the future of the film industry in present circumstances, that's the next question Sijo gave me. I think this pandemic has opened a lot of eyes, and I think this pandemic has revealed that the film industry does not have to be just in Los Angeles. The film industry is spreading out all over the world, in every major city, in every major country, everywhere that there are creative people like you who have access to equipment, which we all do. Every one of us has the capacity now to shoot a film off of these phones. As simple as that. You need a writer, you need an editor, you need a piece of equipment like that phone. You need some great actors, you need a director, and you can make your films. So no one really needs to be here anymore. And we're seeing studios pop up all over the place. Even a friend of mine, Keely Wells, is planning and getting ready to start a new studio in the UK. 3 studios, I think, started in Atlanta, Georgia. They're everywhere, and I'm sure you have them there. So knowing that, you know, there used to be a time when everyone had to uproot their entire life and move to Los Angeles, but that's not the case anymore. You can make films wherever you are, and actually, I believe that it's wise to stay put and make films where you are, and then get them out into the world. The internet has made it possible for us to be anywhere and create the work that's true for us and authentic for us and tells the stories of our lives and our world and the messages we need to go out into the world. Find your people, make your films, and get them out there. It's easier than it's ever been. That said, it's harder than it's ever been to make a living in this industry. That's a fact. It's not the industry that it used to be, where you can just come in and you'll get lucky and you'll get famous, and it's not that industry anymore. It's become very, very challenging to make a living, which is another reason why I think people need to stay in their own communities and circles and make their films in whatever way is possible. My advice for filmmakers, I didn't get into so much detail with you about some of the things I had to do to make my career work. But needless to say, I never, ever stopped working. Even through cancer, even through many, many surgeries, I started adding up the years and realized I might have spent about 10 years of my career on crutches or in a wheelchair or, you know, in hospital beds and going through challenges. And in those times, I never stopped working. As a matter of fact, the last time they were rolling me into surgery, I was going through the, you know, industry breakdowns, which is our work for actors. It's the roles that are going out there, and I was looking for roles that I could play, and, you know, sending notes to my agent, and then until they took my phone away and put me under. And one time I literally came out of anesthesia groggy from a procedure and got home from the hospital, called my friends, and I was in Houston for this, so I had friends that aren't in the industry. I called them and I said, I need your help. I have to put an audition on tape. You know, how many lamps do you have in your house? And we just need a camera and some light. And I'm coaching a friend of mine who's never done this before on how to read lines with me for an audition. So I'm telling you all this because if this is your passion, if filmmaking is what you really want to do, you cannot let anything stop you. Not illness, not disaster, not poverty, not loss, not death. You know, I've lost so many people I love throughout it, and even just too many things to go into. If I were to tell you everything I'd been through, it would take too many hours. And I can tell you that with tears running down my face, I would still get up and go to that actor's studio and jump on the stage, or get on the stage and open a show. And I always stood up for me, for my career, for my work, and did everything that I could do to stay in the business, even all the side jobs and casting and working for celebrities, so that I could pay my medical bills, so that I could stay in the business, so that I could keep working. And all of that has just added what I like to call gold to my toolbox for my acting career. So needless to say, 20 plus years of training at the Actors Studio and all this life experience means that when a director on set says, I need you to go off on a temper tantrum here and cry 27 times in a row for 27 takes, you can bet I'm going to do it, because I've trained and I know how, and I have the life experience to back it up. And whatever it is they ask me to do, I know how to do it because I've done my work. So that's the thing I most want to get across to young filmmakers, is if this is what you really want to do, you're going to have to work hard, and you're going to have to work hard for a lot of years, and you're going to have to know every part of this business, not just your area of expertise. You're going to have to know the whole business. And if you're going to write stories, you're going to have to understand actors. And if you want to be an actor, you need to understand the business. And if you want to be a filmmaker, you need to understand acting, directing, camera, visuals, everything, editing, all of it. You've got to know how to step back from your ego and be a team player, because I think the best productions are the ones where a bunch of creative experts come together. Each one of them brings their expertise. We just did that on Dead End Drive, the most beautiful teamwork I've ever seen, where everybody pitched in what their area of expertise was. And even then, everyone brought new ideas to the table. If a certain area was my expertise, I would say, this is what I think we need to do. And then Toby or Austin would say, well, what about this? Have we thought about that? I think we need to do this. And no one was offended by it. Everyone was open. And we just had such a beautiful collaboration. I've never seen something come together so sweetly and easily as in this film. So find your people. Find the people you love working with. Find the people who are not going to butt heads, but are going to work together. And remember that film is a creative, collaborative art. And so when you invite people to your team, by the way, that's what I think a producer is. A producer is a person who invites people to the party. And you just have to make sure the people you invite are people you want to play with. And in addition, never forget, your story is first. Your screenplay is the most important thing first. You also have to be open-minded enough and smart enough and strong enough to get feedback on your screenplay and hear it. And the feedback won't always be perfect, and it won't always be right, but it will always challenge you. And it will make you look at every aspect of your screenplay. Somebody might say, I think you should change this or that. And you might think, no, that's really wrong. But rather than just dismissing them, look at why they're bringing that to your attention. And if you look deep enough, you might find a hole somewhere in your story or your screenplay that is the reason that made them think it wasn't worth it, that it wasn't working in the first place. So be open to feedback and let it help you grow. And then never forget, there is one factor that will always be true. Your story goes through me onto that screen and out into the world. You have to hire good actors. You cannot just throw actors on a screen because they're a model or because they're famous for YouTube or whatever. You really need trained actors. Trained actors will make all the difference in your project. They will engage people. They will move people. Untrained actors, they really can't bring it. And some people will argue that and say, well, this famous person and that famous person never had any training. Well, they forgot to mention they started as a child working with some of the top directors in the world. That was their training. And they trained on the set, learning from the best of the best. Not everybody gets that advantage, so everybody else needs to be in training. And I tell actors this all the time. If you want to be an actor, you need to be training every single year that you're in the business. Do yourself the service of being the best at what you do. Train, 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 train. And if you're a filmmaker, learn, 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 never stop learning. Some of my friends who are like the best special effects guys in the industry, one of them told me the majority of his week, every week, and he's been doing this for like 25, 30 years, he said the majority of his week, every week, is learning new software, new technology, and he does the major features that have all those special effects. So I think that's all I have to say for you right now. So I'm going to open it up to questions.
Wow, wonderful, wonderful. Thank you very much, Eileen.
You're welcome.
You're a constant inspiration for many people. Let me ask you, who was your inspiration, or is there a person or an event or?
Oh wow. Well, are you talking about my inspiration for my career or for my career?
For your career, yeah.
Okay, well, I had a few. When I was young, my first inspiration was Meg Ryan. I just loved the work she does, and that's actually a kind of role that I'd still love to play one day, is those kind of romantic comedies that are so much fun. But someone took me to one of her early movies and said, "Oh, you guys are so the same. We had the same hair at that time and same coloring and everything." And I went to see the movie and I was like, wow, she's really fun to watch. And so she was one of my early inspirations. But then the one that really impacted me as a powerful actor was Jessica Lange. When I was a young girl in my 20s, I had every single Jessica Lange movie and I would watch them over and over and over and over and over. And I just was fascinated by her work. And as I got older and got into the actor's studio, my inspirations, there are many over there, but one of them who became a mentor to me early in my journey at the actor's studio and is still a mentor to me and one of my dearest friends is the actress, multi Emmy winning actress, Barbara Bain. And she's been in television and movies for so many years. She's 88 years old now, I think. And another one is Alan Miller, who's in his 90s now, and he's a mentor to me. And he was a coach to people like Meryl Streep and Dustin Hoffman. And these are people who took me under their wing at the Actors Studio and taught me so much and showed me how to use my life experience in my work. That was the great gift that they gave me. And Martin Landau was a mentor and an inspiration for many years until we lost him. He passed away a couple of years ago. And my dearest friend, just so close to my heart, Carmen Argenziano, who you guys might know if you watch Seinfeld stuff. He passed away last year. And
there's a quote from Martin Landau. He was an Academy Award winner, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he said because of her life experience and her willingness to use it, Eileen has the potential to be one of the greatest actresses of our time. She's sitting on a volcano and knows how to use it.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, Martin was a great inspiration. I remember a time when it was really challenging and I thought, oh my gosh, the years are passing me by. This industry won't even let me audition for roles because they don't like the way I move. And I was, you know, you have times where you're just up against so many hard things that you just don't know what to do. And I remember having come through an exceptionally hard year, and Martin, I worked on the stage in a play called The Rabbit Hole. That's a woman who loses her child. And after that play, Martin sat me down in the front of the actor's studio and took my hands and said that to me. And he said, I'm not telling you this to make you feel good. I'm telling you this so that you never give up. He said, please do not let them stop you. And so it is people like these who kept me going through the years when my industry was too close-minded to conceive of a girl having a limp, even though film and television doesn't make any sense. If you're a creative person, you can use it or you can hide it. If you're a creative filmmaker, it really doesn't matter. You can show it. But yeah, Martin Landau, the people at the Actors Studio have been a great gift to me. Lou Antonio, so many of them. And now I have my own seat. They dedicated a seat to me at the Actors Studio, so one of the last ones. So yeah, I guess I've made my mark, but I still have work to do.
To the students, so students have some questions for you.
Hello. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. So, when was the unforgettable time moment in your life you got rejected, and how did you overcome it?
Let me make sure I understood you. What was the formidable time?
Unforgettable.
Unforgettable. I'm not sure what you mean.
Unforgettable.
I mean,
unforgettable.
Unforgettable.
Yeah. Unforgettable moment in your life you got rejected, and how did you overcome it?
Oh, unforgettable moment that I was rejected in my industry?
Yeah.
Oh boy, there are so many of them. Okay, there was a time when I was fairly new to the Actors Studio and I was still going through the process, and someone had invited me to be in a play. And so I was in rehearsals for the play, and there were about 15 people and a director, and one of the other actors decided it was funny to start making fun of the way I walk in front of everyone. Just humiliated me in front of everyone. And everyone froze. Nobody knew what to do, you know, in that situation, because here he is making fun of me in front of everyone. And I'm sitting there going, oh my gosh, I'm a grown woman and people are making fun of me like I was a child in school, you know. And I just stopped and I just looked at him and I smiled and I said, you know, I think if you knew why I walk this way, you'd feel really stupid for making fun of me right now. And then the director yelled at him, and later he comes running up to me and says, I'm sorry, I didn't know. And I just said, you know, by the time you're 40 years old, you should know better than to make fun of people. You should do that. So that was one very painful time, and that's just how I handled it in the moment. There were many, many, many times where I went in and did a great audition only to have someone later call my agent and say, what's wrong with her? And now my limp is slight. It's not even terrible. There's a lot of times when people see me on the stage for years and don't even realize I have a limp because I often wear dresses and you don't see it. So, but one that was extremely painful was where I got booked for a show, and then when I was talking to the wardrobe people, they they said, well, what do you typically like to wear? And I said, I like to wear long skirts. And they were like, oh, why? And I said, because I have a brace on my leg. And because at that time I don't anymore, but I had a brace up to my knee. And the person got really quiet, and then they said, oh, okay, let me get back to you. And then the next day I got an email saying that I was not going to be on the show because they couldn't afford longer skirts. So I was like, oh, okay, well, I'll bring my own skirts. How about that? I was so stunned by that, and they just decided to take me off the show. So that time I wrote an email. And back then, my email was not kind. I was younger, and I just said, you know what? I was about to hand you the best possible story you could have ever had for your show. And you decided to discriminate against me for a limp. And then I mentioned all the people I know who were famous at that time, people like Oprah Winfrey, and who had been discriminated against. And I mentioned all of them, and I said, well, if someone like me cannot work in this industry, then you should call Oprah and this one and that one and tell them all to get off the screen, because they're not welcome either, because obviously we're in this world that has to, you know, imagine the world they want to see, and no one else is welcome. And this was what I said in the email. And then I said, you know what, you've left me with two choices. Either I walk away knowing certainly that you're going to do this to someone else, and that someone else might not be as strong as me. Or I call Gloria Allred, who's like the #1 attorney for discrimination, and I'll see what she has to say about it. So that was the email I sent back. Needless to say, I got a call from the producers, the network, everybody saying, we're so sorry, we're so sorry. We're gonna fire the casting person who sent this. And I said, no, I don't want you to fire him. I want you to educate him. I want you to educate him. That's what I want you to do, because no one should ever be treated like this. And then they said, we want you on our show. And I said, you don't get to have me on your show anymore. Yeah, you had gold for your show. You lost it. We're done now. And years later, I came across someone else who was a lead on that show, and she said that the producers were so shocked that I didn't sue them. And I was like, you know what? I felt like it was a teachable moment. I think the more important thing was to teach them that you don't treat people like that. There are so many stories of me losing jobs and through the years, and you know, they're heartbreaking for me to even think about to this day, because I think of where I would be now had people not unfairly taken work away or unfairly taken jobs away. But if I focus on that, I get sad, and I don't want to focus on that. So I'm going to keep moving forward. And when I will focus on that to be sad is when I have a role that really needs that kind of pain in it. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah. And so society hates the people who think different, right? Mostly. So how in your life, how did you manage with it? I mean, you thought different about helping disabled people.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a very different thinking, especially
Yes.
in film industry. It's very different.
Well, here's the thing. Let me try to frame it in a way anyone can understand. Do any of you know anyone with a disability? I can't see everyone, so I have no idea. Maybe you can throw it in the chat. How many of you have ever been in a bad car accident? How many of you have a parent who was perfectly healthy and then one day found out they had cancer and lost a limb or an organ or a breast or their life?
I had an uncle.
Yes.
I had an uncle with breast cancer. Yeah, it was just out of nowhere. Yeah.
So this is the thing. Disability can happen to anyone at any time, at any age in life. When I was a young girl and I would get bullied in school or made fun of or made to feel bad in school, I would come home in tears, and my mother would say to me, you know what, Eileen? Those kids are not showing you what's wrong with you. They are showing you what is wrong with them. She said, what you have there is a great judge of character, other people's character. They are showing you what's wrong with them. So thank them and go play with people who have the character to appreciate you. And she was right about that. And throughout my life, I have to keep reminding myself when someone is cruel or unfair or unjust, I need to remember to thank them for showing me who they are so that I can move on faster and work with better people. Anybody, my mom also said to me, any one of those kids could walk out in front of a bus tomorrow and walk worse than you. I've never forgotten that either. Any kid could get in a car accident, any one of you. I'm not wishing that on anyone, but it's a fact of life. Anyone can end up with cancer that makes them lose a limb or an organ. Anyone can end up in a car accident or a bike accident or a fire and or in a war zone and end up stepping on a landmine and end up blowing off a leg. Anyone can become disabled. So therefore, we need to remember that they're still the person they were. You know, me becoming paralyzed at 5 years old did not change the child that was inside of me, the kid that had dreams and hopes for their life. And part of the reason why I speak up and I stand up is because what people did, how they treated me, was so wrong to do to a child that was already fighting for their life, already in pain, already scared, already literally nearly dying. And for them to get up and keep going, for that kid to get up and keep going, how cruel are we if we knock that kid over or if we get in that kid's way? What we should be doing is clearing their paths because they survived for a reason and their stories matter. And I believe these kids that everyone's been leaving out are literally our world's game changers. I believe they are. Einstein had a learning disability. Stephen Hawking, who I sat in an office and talked with, look at his disability. What if we would have just stuck him in a room and nobody listened? You know, a lot of our world leaders, many of our presidents have had disabilities, even including the one that got us through the war against Hitler. So, you know, we need these kind of people out there changing our world. That's how I have a different mindset, because I realize that the mind is still the same. The mind is still, even if you go out tomorrow and you lose your legs, you're still going to be the person you were, and you're still going to care, and you're still going to want to live, and you're still going to have something very important to say. And so I challenge and encourage everyone to, rather than reject these people with challenges, open up to them and get to know them, because it'll probably be your most important relationships in life, your most important friends, your most loyal friends, and sometimes often the people who will help you through your big challenges when they come. Because life, you know, it's hard to know this at the age that you're at, but the reality is life doesn't let anyone get away without a challenge. Everyone's life challenges hit at some point. Some people it happens early, and some people it happens later in life. But we have no business being mean to the people who've gone through these battles sooner, because that's all they are. It happens as kids, or they're born with it. They're just going through the battles sooner, so they're going to be really skilled at these battles by the time your turn hits, because everyone will have a battle.
Thank you. That was great.
Anyone else have any questions about the industry or anything?
Can I ask the next question?
Yeah.
Yeah. So if I'm about to write a script where the MC is a disabled person, and I'm about to do the casting of that script, and I have two options in my hand. Either I could just go for a famed actor to play that part, or I could just, for example, if you could just take Forrest Gump, where Tom Hanks played that part. If I do go, I mean, the directors of that film would not have to gamble if they go for the famed actor, because at least the fans of that actor would be there to see that film. So if I go for the second option, I could just, it's going to be pretty risky, and my script has to be really strong, and there has to be some peculiar traits that makes the character interesting. So could you just suggest some traits that I can go for? Because if I'm selecting a disabled actor to play that part, like a real disabled actor.
Right. Okay. So here's my opinion. Is this character, this disabled character, the lead of your film?
Yeah, he's going to be the MC.
He's going to be the MC. And how many other characters are in your film?
No, I just made up in my mind this, like if I'm about to, you know, yeah.
Well, what I'm saying is, okay, I think it's really important that if it's a disabled character, if it's an MC, and disability is important to the story, then I would definitely hire someone with a real disability to be that, and then put your named actors in other positions in the project. You know, you can, like, you know, if they
like a supporting actor.
Yeah, in supporting roles, you can always take. Look, if you look at every name actor out there, there was a time when they were not a name. Eddie Redmayne was not a name that people knew in our country, at least. Nobody heard of him before he did that role where he played Stephen Hawking in The Theory of Everything. That's when he became a named actor, really. We didn't know. Nobody knew who he was. So the reality is, in that case, they could have put an actor with a real disability in that role. One who's partially mobile, because there's a lot of people with mobility issues who are sometimes in a wheelchair, sometimes not. And then they would have had that life experience also. Not that Eddie didn't do a great job, but, you know, you can make someone a name. We all know that. It's a matter of publicity. You know, anyone can become a name at any time. It literally is a matter of publicity and the PR machine putting it out there. So for your film, if you're going to write a character with a disability, I suggest, first of all, find your actors who are in your industry, who are out there, who have disabilities, and find out who they are and what their disabilities are and what their skill set is. And maybe you write around one of them, and then you put your name actors around them in the same project. That's one way around it. And if you can't do that, like they did this film with The Rock. They needed The Rock to play an amputee, and they didn't have a bigger name amputee to play that role. So The Rock did the role, playing an amputee. And a lot of people in the disabled community in our industry got really upset about that because they wanted it to be cast authentically with a person with a real disability. However, there wasn't one that had that caliber to do that big of a studio feature. So if I had been involved, I would have suggested to The Rock, okay, take that role, and then make sure they hire several people with disabilities in other roles where the disability is not written into the film. So that if you're going to take a role away from somebody who doesn't get other shots, give them a role in your film where disability doesn't matter. And there are lots of those roles, just like in real life. You go into a store and there might be a cashier on crutches or sitting in a wheelchair. You could go to the bank and you don't know if your teller at the bank is sitting in a wheelchair, right? There's lots of places. Your next door neighbor in your story could have a disability. They could walk with a limp. It wouldn't matter. And it doesn't even need to be told in the story. So, and there are lots of actors like me. You could show my limp if you wanted to, or you could frame me like this and have any setting you want, and you're never going to know I even have a disability. So The Rock, what? Yeah. So The Rock could have put me in his film, and I could have had a role, and then the disabled community would have been satisfied that a person with a disability was also hired in the same project. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, about 80%, but that's fine. I get it.
So the point is, if you're going to have a disabled role, really try your hardest to cast it authentically. And if for budgetary reasons or some other reason you absolutely cannot greenlight your film because you need a bigger name, then find other parts for disabled actors and put them in it somewhere. That's the fair trade.
Thank you, ma'am.
Mm-hmm. You're welcome.
Any more questions?
Hi, ma'am. Hello, ma'am.
Hi.
Ma'am, I would love to know how you balance your professional life with your social worker side of you. Like you're an actress, a director, and a musician, and more. You do a lot of social work, and your life itself is quite difficult, as we heard your story. How do you manage all of them all together?
I'm not sure you're really going to want to know the answer, because the truth is I work all day long, every single day, morning to night, 7 days a week. And that's how I'm never fully caught up with everything. But I have my priorities and which ones come first. So if I'm on a film, then that's what I have to do first, because that's how I make my living. And it's how I pay my health insurance and those things. I do my writing when I can fit it in, when I have time. I'm always juggling probably 10 projects at once. And I'm actually always grateful when I get booked on a full-paying film or TV series, because that's like a vacation for me, because then I can just do one job instead of 10 at the same time. And as far as the advocacy work goes, you know, this new way of like doing things the way we're doing it right now saves me a lot of time, because I don't have to travel all across the world. I can just click on a link and show up, you know, so that makes things a little easier. But I do it all day long. And I unfortunately, you know, my challenges and everything didn't work out in the timing, so I don't have children. So that's something I don't have the time away for that a lot of women do. So I just use every minute of every day to the best of my ability, and I'm never done. So I have to say no to a lot of things. That's the reality. I have to say no to a lot of things. So paying work comes first, and things that are driving towards my goals come first. And then if I have time to do more, I always do as much as I can. So.
Ma'am, how can you be so positive when the world is so unfair to you?
How can I be so positive when the world has been so unfair? Well, I can say this to you guys because you go to a Catholic school. I grew up Catholic, and my mom taught me how to pray, and I pray, and I talk to God a lot, and I have angels all around my apartment and everywhere, constantly reminding me that I'm not alone in this battle, and everybody has their ups and downs, including me. I have my sad days. I try to keep moving forward at all times. When I'm sad, I go work out. I go take my hiking sticks and I hike up a mountain, and I do whatever I can do to keep moving. Or sometimes when I'm at my most sad, or when something has been really wrongly done, I write. Because when we can write from a place of great emotion, that's when your audience is going to feel your emotion. So, plus even though my mother died young, I had the most amazing mom. And she taught me things that have always helped me keep my head in the game. And also my purpose. I know for a fact, and I've had plenty of confirmation of that through the years, that my journey was bigger than me. I have come to believe that we are picked and put in place, and I think God wanted the world to stop being abusive to kids with disabilities. I mean, I don't know if everybody knows this, but even the Holocaust didn't start where everybody thinks it started. It started with them killing every baby with a disability. And we're still doing it. And it just has to stop. you know, these kids have a purpose. You know, we're all God's children, and my purpose keeps me going. And when I'm sad, I think about all those little kids who deserve a shot, who deserve to have their dreams, and that keeps me moving forward. And if you keep moving, you find your joy again. So, and I also think hard times, really hard things in life, going through them and finding your way through them is what brings you great joy. So I think on the other side of all of our challenges is joy. Thank you for that question.
Thank you so much, ma'am. It's so good to know your story. It's really inspiring. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hello, ma'am.
Yes, hi.
I would really like to know, like, what kept you motivated when life threw so much at you. Like, it's a dark place to not not see, not walk properly, and then you have to have something within you to go on. Like, what kept you motivated so much?
Again, my purpose in life and my dream was big, and my belief that I have value. That's the belief my mother instilled in me as a child. I have every right to my dreams, and I believe I was raised to believe that all people are equal, all people. And I don't really care who those people are. I don't care if it's the Queen of England or the person who cleans my toilet. We're all equal, and we all have a right to fight for what we want. And I've always believed that. So no matter how people treated me, or how I was kept out of work, or no matter what I went through, I always believed I had an important story to tell, and that it had value. And I knew that I could help people just by sharing my story. You know, that alone, putting my stories into my life experience, into my stories, into my work, I knew would help people. And it has. It has helped a lot of people. Even in this year, we have 2 books have already come out that my story is a part of, and a 3rd one is about to come out. And the book is called Coping with Grief and Loss, the 3rd one, The Missing Piece in Coping with Grief. So we put it into our work, you know, you know what, I have a lot of courage, and that keeps me going, and I'm motivated because I want to change the world. I've wanted to change the world since I was little, and that keeps me going. I want the world to be a kinder place. I want a world where any person can stand in front of another person and be given a fair shot, regardless of their differences. You know, a world where people treat each other equally and fairly, no matter what, no matter who.
Right.
Yes, ma'am. Can I ask?
Yes.
Yeah,
Hi.
yeah.
Was that Eva? Her microphone went mute again.
Yes, ma'am. Can you see me?
Yes. Hi.
Hi. Yeah, you continue to live and catch your dreams, and it leads to success, right?
Yes.
So there's a quote saying, like, on the way to success, there is always we, not me. And do you believe in that? And if yes, who was your strength and what was it? If no, how do you fight alone?
Well, we're never alone. You know, and throughout life, people come and go into our lives. And it's another reason why I say be very open-minded, because you never know who is going to walk beside you in your battles. And, you know, when I was a young little girl going through it, my mother stood beside me and fought with me. And I have brothers and I have a sister, and some of those brothers really stood up for me when I was young. And as I got older, you know, there are always people in your life. No one does it alone. No one makes films alone. No one goes it alone. And yes, I do believe it's we. And I have a lot of really good friends when I was in my early 30s, when I was diagnosed with cancer, I went to Houston, Texas, which is a few thousand miles from where I live, to go to the best cancer center. And I had 17 friends come in from all over the country. Friends from my childhood, friends from all over came in to be there for me at that time. Because my friends are my family, and we stay in touch through all our lives. And even today, I spoke with one of my friends from the 5th grade. She was having a hard time. I picked up the phone and called her. She texted me. I picked up the phone and called her. These are people we're there for each other. And we all need these kind of friends, and we all need to lean on each other and trust each other. And, you find people that value you and empower you, and those are the ones you hang with. And you very quickly move away from the ones who bring you down. And this is really important for women to understand. If you've got people that are making you feel bad, making you feel like you don't have a right to your dreams, that are keeping you down or keeping you away from it, these are not your people. And sometimes it's your own family that you have to put over there. Sometimes that's a reality. You have to, because you have a dream for a reason, you have a passion for a reason, and you have to find the people who believe in you. And you do the same for them. It's a two-way street. I tell people that all the time. You have to help as many people as you can, and then those people will help you back. We all need to try to help each other reach our goals and our dreams, because we all rise up together.
Yes. Thank you. And this is not a question. I'm just saying to you, like, if you share a story and it doesn't make you cry anymore, then it means you are completely healed. And I see in you. Thank you so much, ma'am.
You're so welcome. You're welcome.
Ma'am.
Yes. Hi.
Hi, ma'am. Multi-gendered person like actor, producer, writer, advocate, speaker, etc. Which is your favorite field and which is the toughest one from your experience?
Okay, the audio feed is breaking up, so I can't hear your question. Could you put it in the chat? I can't hear it.
You are a multi-gendered person like actor, producer, writer, advocate, speaker, etc. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. You're saying so, actor, writer, producer, yes. What's the question?
Which is your favorite field and which is the toughest one from your experience?
Oh, what's my favorite and what's the toughest? Okay. My absolute favorite, of course, is actor. That's my number one thing. And it is what will always be my number one thing. It's what I'm the best at. It's what I'm the most trained for. It's what I have the most to bring to the table. So acting is always number one for me. All of the rest was a way for me to get to the acting in spite of discrimination I was facing in the business. So it was a way for me to work still in the industry, pay my bills, get to know people, build my allies. Producing is easy. I love producing. To me, that's easy. Directing is fun because I know the acting so well. It's easy for me to bring performances out of people. I love writing because I have a lot of stories to tell. I've had a lot of life experience that would fill a million features. That's exaggerating, but a lot of stories. But always number one is acting. Does that answer your question?
Yes. Which is toughest?
And what was the rest? Sorry.
Which is the toughest one?
Oh, the toughest. What's the toughest? Definitely the hardest is the acting.
Oh.
It's the hardest to make a living in this industry as an actor. That is the hardest. The percentage of people who actually make a living is so small. Even in our professional actors union, the Screen Actors Guild, less than 1% of the membership of the Screen Actors Guild makes a living at all. So acting is definitely the hardest. And it's the most work. It's the most work, requires the most training, and yeah, that's the toughest. And the most vulnerability. It requires a lot of strength and vulnerability to put your heart out on the stage and the screen.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, ma'am.
Time for one more question.
Ma'am, you're a producer, right? So how do you pick up a script?
Since I'm a producer, how do I pick up the script?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, you mean how do I pick the script? Okay, well, you know, usually when I'm producing, it's either because I've been hired on a project. Like if I'm hired for the TV shows, then I'm producing whatever they picked and set up, you know? So as a producer, I'm usually hired for the projects, and whoever hired me usually already has that project, that script. They're the ones who are raising the money, and they've hired me to come on and produce. If it's my own projects, like my disability inclusion films, I'm often writing them myself, so they're my own stories. Or every once in a while, there'll be a team of people that come together, and somebody will have an idea that we love. Like the last two projects were pitched to me by people I know and work with already, and then they wrote the projects, and then one of them I rewrote, and the other one I did not have to. And so those scripts came together that way. But these were short films, the last two. So I don't usually go out looking for scripts outside of what I write myself. But I'm usually just getting hired to do the producing.
Thank you, ma'am. Ma'am, I have another question.
Yes.
Ma'am mentioned that the film industry requires equal footing. In our country, I feel like the situation is improving, but there's still a really long way to go. So there's still like safety issues, society's perceptions need to change, and like equality issues and things. So how
women?
can a person face all this?
Sorry, I didn't hear the last part.
Ma'am, how in your opinion can a person face all this?
How have we faced all of this? Is that what she's asking? How we faced all this?
Hello.
Sorry, Sijo. What I didn't.
Yeah, I didn't get the question. Sophia, can you repeat the question? Yep.
Yeah, sure. Ma'am, you mentioned that the film industry requires equal footing, and in our country, I feel the situation is improving, but there's still a really long way to go. Society's perceptions need to change, and equality issues that we need to deal with. So how, in your opinion, can a person face all this? A person who is actually really interested in filmmaking.
Okay, so all right. So here's my opinion. I think the men need to realize how important it is to bring the women in, because women are really hardworking and they're really passionate and they get things done. And I think men would be smart to realize that you really want women on your team, because in the final hour, when the work needs to get done, they will show up and they will follow through. There's a wonderful woman that I work with who's from India named Ruhi Hawk. Ruhi gets things done faster than anyone I know, and whatever she dreams up, she gets it done. She is fearless about going out into the world and doing whatever it takes to make her films. And the interesting thing about Ruhi also is that she never ever takes a profit from her projects. She always takes the money and she takes it and helps kids in India. Kids that have cancer, kids that, you know, she has all these groups of kids charities that she puts the money into. But I'll tell you what, that woman is an amazing producer. And I think that all the men that are out there making movies would be really smart to put women on their team and then treat them equally, because when you've got a woman who's empowered to do what it is she knows how to do, that woman will show up for you and she will deliver and she will bring sensitivity and creativity to your project. I think it's a benefit to all involved. And if in your country the men are not realizing yet how powerful you are, then I say work with women. Make some teams of women.
Not just the issue with men, it's the society's perception, like film industry is not yet safe. And actually it's true, film industry has to be more safe and things. So actually people are scared to send their daughters. Like in my situation, it is like that. So I find it really difficult.
Parents, you're talking about your parents, right? Yeah, I've heard a few women I spoke at an empowering women's thing again for people from India, and I understand that your culture is very different from ours, and the parents can stop you from going after your dreams, and that's a very challenging position to be in. My only personal reference to it is that when I was a small, younger person, my brothers made fun of what I wanted to do. They made fun of my dreams, and that was their way of minimizing me. And my way of responding to that was, I'll show you. And I did, so I think we have to, and it's often not worth the battle. I understand the position that you're in. I often think it's not worth the battle to fight with these people. Just go do what it is you want to do. And if you have to do another job on the side, or if you have to take care of things with your family, fine. And then at night you write. And then during the day at school, you find your allies and you build your projects. And because what they'll believe and what they'll believe in is your finished work. If you start doing the work and you put it out there and you do great work, how long can people deny that? Right? I remember the first time my dad saw me on TV, and he was so excited. And I remember how many times people told me I was never going to work in this industry. I remember an agent in New York saying to me, "You're never going to work in this industry. You walk funny." And literally when he said it, I laughed. I laughed and I said, I will work in this industry. I said more to him, but I won't go into that right now. But sometimes you gotta, it's not worth the verbal battle, if that makes sense. Just go do it. They don't need to know about it if they don't like it. You just go do your thing, because there's a reason that you care about this. There's a reason you have a passion. So you just keep finding a way to do it. Just keep finding a way to do it. Maybe the battle itself will be one of your stories.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Yes. Hi.
Hello.
Hi, ma'am. I have a question for you.
Hmm?
Did you ever felt that why I'm going through this much struggle, why I'm in this field, and whenever did you feel? I understood that you felt very much alone sometimes. Did you ever thought that go back to your real originality and do some other job like that ever?
Yeah, I actually thought about it a lot through the years. And I often asked myself, why, after everything you've been through, have you picked the most difficult career that anyone could ever pick? There were many times I thought about going after finding another job. And now that I've been in it 28 years, I always thought, well, the big break will be the next, it's coming, it's right there. I always thought it was right there. And there are plenty of times when I've looked back and I thought, you know what, had I known how hard the battle was going to be, what I would have done differently is I would have started producing when I was very, very young. And I would have been in more control of my own career. If I had known how bad it was going to be, which I did not, I would have been producing, writing, and creating projects at such a young age that I'd be a huge filmmaker by now. And then I could have put myself in as an actor. But for whatever reason, my battle turned out the way it did. And yes, there are times that I look back and say, wow, even now it would be easier to go just get a job and do something else. But every time I think about walking away, that's when sadness hits me. That's when it hits. Because I know I could never walk away without being sad for the rest of my life. And that I'm not willing to do. So if I have to stay in the battle so that I don't have to feel like I gave up, that's what I'll do.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. I'm sure there are a lot more questions from students, but we are running beyond the time.
Okay.
We have our principal, Father Prashant, is with us. Achan, if you can hear me, can you give a few words before we conclude? Hello, Achan, can you hear me? Yeah, maybe it's muted, that's why. All right. Okay. So we'll conclude anyway. You have anything to ask us, Eileen?
Um, no, I don't have anything to ask you, but you guys can, you can find me on Instagram and on Twitter, and
Yeah.
I have a Facebook
Yeah.
professional page. My personal one is always full, but there's a professional one all by my name. I'll put it in the chat so you know how to find me. But it's Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and what's the other one? LinkedIn.
LinkedIn, yeah.
Yeah, all by my name. You can find me by my name. So keep me posted on what you're doing. I want to know about the films you guys are doing. I want to know what you're putting out into the world. So
I hope they will keep connected with you.
Ma'am, can I ask you a last question?
Yep, sure.
Yeah, last question. Yeah, who's that?
Ma'am,
Devika.
what is your strongest attribute?
I think I just answered that in the chat. I think my strongest attribute, the reason I'm still alive and the reason that I'm still going is because I have courage. I think that's my strongest attribute, courage.
Yes. We're just concluding. One point to add. You had many setbacks in different stages of your life.
Yeah.
From the incident in the childhood, departure of your parents, struggles, surgeries, pain, and rejections. But nothing, absolutely nothing, stopped you from following your passion and fulfilling your dreams.
Yeah.
That's simply phenomenal, in my opinion.
Thank
So
you.
you're a true inspiration to so many people.
Thank
And
you.
I wish you get the well-deserved recognition. All your dreams come true.
Thank you.
So where's the next job? Academy Award?
Yes. Put that out there. Put that out there in the world. Yes. Thank you. And I appreciate all your support. You guys get on Instagram and Twitter and follow and connect. And, when we have projects going out there, especially when it's a film project that we've gone out of our way to make sure it's disability inclusive, we would appreciate you sharing and retweeting and helping us spread the word. So I'm giving you my Instagram now. It's on here. And it's pretty much the same on every platform.
All right. So we are concluding the session. May the blessings of Sacred Heart be with you, Eileen, on behalf of our college and department. Thank you very much for joining and making a time out of your schedule. We are so grateful.
You're so welcome. My pleasure. And please do let us know when you've got films going out there in the world.
Sure. And thank you all, students, faculties, and other invitees joined from different places. Thank you all. God bless you all. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Eileen.
Thank you.
Bye.
I'm going to keep watching your chat here. I missed all of this. I'm going to keep watching. Thank you, everyone. Wow, that's a lot of stuff in the chat. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And it's keep coming. It's keep coming.
It keeps coming. Yes. Well, I hope everybody gets out there and follows their dreams. I really do. Oh, thank you, Amina. That's really nice. Thank you, Danny. Thank you all. That's really nice. I hope you all will make the world a better place with your films. That's what I really hope. Is everyone now late to all their classes?
No. Their classes are concluded. Actually,
Okay.
we conducted it in the morning. So classes are over, and then we adjusted the session for this session.
Okay. Oh, thank you. It's really nice messages, everyone. Thank you. Yes, Academy Awards, so we have a voice. Hi.
Thank you for the question. We love you so much.
I couldn't hear you. Sorry. What?
We love you so much. Lots of love from India.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you. I do hope all the women get to go follow their dreams and really fight for it. I really do. Even if you have to move away. Their parents aren't going to like us. That's all right.
Hello, ma'am.
Hi, Amina. Hi.
I just wanted to say thank you to you. Like, you taught me that to make my experience not be my weakness and make it as a strong point for me. And I really want to thank you for that.
Oh, yeah. Yay. Thank you. Thank you. You know, there was a talk that you could find on YouTube that was for Shiv Javanti, I think. It was for empowering women. And it was a talk I gave to a bunch of young girls about going after their dreams. And it might be helpful to you. It's on YouTube. If you search my name, you could probably find it. And one of the most important things that I think I said in that talk was that the only person you really have to worry about pleasing in your lifetime is you when you're an old person looking back on your life. Please that person. That person is the one that needs to be proud of you. So the old woman you'll be one day looking back in the mirror that can look back and say, hey, you did good, kid. You know, you followed your dreams. Because just like I don't want to leave because I don't want to look back and be sad that I quit and I gave up. We don't know how many years everybody's journey is going to take, but we don't want to look back and say I gave up. You know, we want to go for it with everything we've got.
Right.
Yeah.
I think nobody will leave now.
That's funny. Everyone's just smiling. That's funny. Good luck on your way to the Oscars. Thank you. Yes, no regrets. Thank you. That's nice. Thank you, Sija, for having me. I'm glad you reached out. It was on LinkedIn, right? That's how you found me.
Yeah, we're on LinkedIn. Yeah, we found in LinkedIn. And I'll send the recording and I'll send the chats of this session to you by mail.
Oh, you will? Okay. Thank you. Oh, thank you. Wonderful. All right.
Always
Well,
stay connected. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank
Let's
you.
stay
Bye.
connected. Bye.
Okay,
Bye.
let's do it. Okay. Thanks. Bye.